I'm the Commissar. We're watching Forged Alliance Forever, and you need to be ready to get wet and wild, one-on-one, in this war for a water world. 1v1 ladder. Love it or hate it, there's no denying that there's good core to say that it's the true test of skill. Just you and another player facing off against each other, nobody else to help out. And as for these players who are going to test their skill, we'd better meet them. In the red corner, this is Legend of the Stars, 1051 rated and playing Cybran. Facing off against him, in the blue corner, this is YungDookie. We're going to call him Young. He's 970 rated and he is Seraphim. Legend says he's not played this map before, nor have I. I think it's new, and it is an actual, real, human-made map called Crashing Waves, not a generated map. And as 1v1 maps go, it's pretty big. Look at this. This is a full 20 by 20, taking up the whole 20 by 20 map. What have we got on it? Each player has an island with a few mexes scattered around, and there's a contested island in each corner, with a few more mixes. There's also 4 mixes in the middle underwater here and 5 in each of these side areas of water. How about reclaim? Well, the first thing I see is that these look like destro wrecks on land. For those who don't know, a wreck on land gives you its full mass, while a wreck in the water gives you only half mass. So as you can see, these destro wrecks are out of the water, and so this one has 1400 mass on it. There's also one down here with 1600 mass on it, so that's a lot of mass for players to get. Little frigate wreck here with 200 mass on it, and then a load of mass just scattered around the bottom of this plateau. This mech, by the way, is on a plateau and will need dropping or edge building. And of course, the map is symmetrical, so exactly the same applies to Legend's area up here. What have we got in terms of construction for Young? Well, he has only got this land factory at the moment, so it looks like he's being quite greedy in terms of his build. And Legend has queued an air factory, but he's put up a lot of power first. I used to see this quite a lot, but I see it less now, putting P-gens around the mechs, so that when your first mech is upgraded, it costs less power to do so. Then reclaim the P-gens and cap it, because by then you will have T2 power, in theory. But I've seen that less now, and I don't really like it myself. I think it's too much faff to handle. And we can see in the air factory that a bomber is the first thing for Legend to come out, followed by a scout and an inti. That's in the usual play, because the bomber is faster than the scout. Other way around. The scout is faster than the bomber, and so the bomber can head off, then the scout comes out when it's finished, overtakes it, and sees something for the bomber to kill. And with these expansions out here, and these relatively well-spread mixes all around the islands, picking up the NGs getting these would be a lovely pickup for Legend, so if he can manage that, it'll be a good start for him. But look how greedy Young is being. He's already got a T2 mech up, and he's killed a second one. He has got a transport under construction here, which is not surprising. But we've already got one finished for Legend, so Legend is building more units and might expand faster as a result, but Young is being greedier and will get the better eco. Now, Legend actually sent his scout all the way around here, and that's a mistake, because this bomber has not seen this NG. That would be huge if it picked up that NG, denying all these mexes for a good minute or two while Young replaced it. But he hasn't seen it, and he's just, pootling around over here, hoping to find an NG reclaiming. So that could be a mistake from Legend. These would be a lovely pickup, though. Deny that mech's upgrade, kill a big bunch. He's going to get this NG, that's nice. And he has seen this group. Let's see how many of them die. This is going to be painful for Young. Oh, no, good split for Young. He would have lost loads, but he only loses 2. Still, 2 NGs at this stage of the game could be painful. That's 3 total, and this is going to be more. 5 NGs down to this one bomber, and look at that. Legend is following up. You can see on the minimap this transport coming in. 7 NGs killed before the bomber was shot down. Young's produced a lot of mobile anti-air and anti-air turrets, but that's not a defense against Medusa, and the Medusa are dropped. If they can take out one of these T2 mexes, that would be amazing for Legend. But it looks like he's targeting the factory, and I don't know if he's... Oh, he is ordering them. He's got one guy coming over here to deny this. But this factory is... Ooh, almost dead but being repaired, and Young is doing his best to repair this factory. But again, is he actually repairing it fast enough to stop 5 Arty from destroying it? I think he actually is. That's wired, and it's producing a tank. But is he going to need the tank? Because look at this. This MVP NG just comes in and starts eating the artillery. 1 down. 2 down. And the factory is still being repaired. This is wired. 3 down. And Legend just hasn't noticed. Now he notices, but he loses a 4th artillery. And the 5th is going to run away. But it runs away into range of the point defense. And this NG, this hero NG, saves the day with 4 reclaims of artillery. And over here, Young's comm took out that one that came over here. That's amazing from Young. And he's kept both his T2 mexes. He's even kept his factory. And his comm goes into the water to build a naval yard. However, Legend has already built 2 naval yards and has 2 frigates on the way, and he's even started Tech 2 Navy. So that could be huge. But Tech 2 Navy with only 17 mass per tick is a bold play. And he could be fueling it with this engineer here, which he's got on a reclaim move over here. Does he need to stop and order it to do something? Because he needs that mass. Anyway, there's another bomber that he's brought in, having had success with the first one. It's going to kill a mex. It takes 2 passes from a T1 bomber to kill a mex. But if Young notices that, he's got inties in position and they can deal with it. Will he notice it? Yes, he will. Meanwhile, the frigates are approaching Young's naval base. Young nearly has a second thing up, and he's building submarines here. But we've also got a drop coming in over here from Legend, so let's see how these 2 batters fare. Will Legend be able to deny the naval yard, and will he get anything done with the drop? He's unsurprisingly going for this Destro wreck right away. And he drops in... He's only brought 2 NGs from the looks of things. Is this going to put up a factory? There's a lot of tree claim here to get and a lot of mexes. So I think... No, he's just queuing up the mexes. I think that's a mistake. I think he needs a factory here. And that one of these NGs should do it. But he's queued up no factories here. Meanwhile, he's got 2 of these frigates now bombarding the naval yard. And Young's going for a torpedo launcher in response, but he's stopped doing that and he's repairing the naval yard with his comm. After all, it worked with those NGs against the artillery, and these frigates don't have torpedoes or torpedo defense. They have no answer to this submarine. And Young is going all in on submarines. He's got another 8 queued up here. And I think they'll be able to eat up this frigate push without a problem. And the frigate just tries to run away from the subs, but there's more coming out all the time. And over here, Young has brought an NG across, but it finds nothing. Not even the engineer. However, where's the factory from Legend? He is just building mexes here. He's going for these two with this NG and these with this NG, but he's not got any production, and that could be a problem, especially if Young puts up the production. Over here, the frigate is taken out. Meanwhile, though, I would like to look over here. We have these two engineers who have been going on the slowest journey ever across this immense 20k map, on foot, or on wheels, or on floats, I guess, trying to reclaim that destroyer wreck. It's a slow journey, but they're still going to make it before Young. And that is 1400 mass to suck up, so it's going to be worth it. And that's why, it's because we have a drop coming out on this transport over here. That's what the transport's being used for. While they fly, though, let's look at this. We have T2 Navy finished for Legend, and he's got 2 Destros on the map. And this one is just charging straight in, trying to hit Young's naval base. He does have a few submarines here. Will the submarines be enough to stop it? However, what I'm most interested in right now is this drop. Where's it going to land? Well, it's planning to land here. That could be dangerous, because this Nother could literally just take off and bomb the drop as soon as it lands. And it does take off, but as well as being a bomber, a Nother is a fighter. It's a fighter bomber, and with the help of the inties, the drop is just shot down right there in Young's base. What a mass gift. Had he just dropped it here, it would have been fine. Anyway, meanwhile, the Destro arrives and opens fire on Young's naval production, but we mentioned this bunch of subs. That's a lot of subs, and Young has finished this torpedo launcher. More subs coming out all the time. And I don't think Legend's destroyer is really in a position to survive this. It comes forward and he's going to try and deny this P-Gen. That would be nice. Is it going to actually hurt Young if it does? Not quite. He can... Ooh. He might or might not be able to afford to lose it, depending on what he's reclaiming or building at the time. The P-Gen goes down, but so does the destroyer. How's Young's power looking? Well, depending on his reclaim, it's flicking back and forth, but he builds on the wreck, and he's easily going to be able to maintain power until it comes back. Legend's second destroyer arrives, but by now, Young is prepared. Look at this swarm of submarines. And that destroyer is just going to go straight down, no problems for Young. Unless, of course, Legend gets it onto the land. But he doesn't. He's just leaving. Oh, okay, now he tries. But it's too little, too late, and it's the Nother that comes in and takes it out, leaving another mass gift. Look at this. Look at this. There, and that counts as on the land. So it's, look at that mass difference. That is a lot of mass that Legend has given Young, and that could prove to be a problem. Meanwhile, over here, Young is also doing good things. He has landed these NGs, and because Legend didn't put up any production, these NGs are just going to be able to walk in and hold on, I said walk in and capture, but he doesn't know that these mexes are built. He is walking in and trying to build, and that means that this engineer will just approach the mechs, try and build it, find it's already built, and move on. And there it goes. He didn't give... That was just automatic. Had Young seen it, he would have given the order to capture rather than having it just move on. We do have an NG drop, though, coming out to the northern island. Maybe we're going to see some actual building there. It amazes me that neither player has tried to put a factory on either of the contested islands. Meanwhile, out come these cruisers from Legend, and the cruisers are nice. They will help stop the Nothers, they will help stop Young having air superiority, which I think he has at the moment, though Legend has been producing a decent cloud of interceptors. But we know there are hordes and hordes of submarines, and they will just shred these cruisers. So we really need to see some more Navy. Here it comes. We've got a sub-hunter, a stealth boat, another sub-hunter. But will that be enough to stop the ever-growing swarm of subs that Young is preparing? He still hasn't killed up T2 Navy though, and that could be a mistake. He lands the drop, but he may be looking elsewhere, as this crowd of engineers isn't actually doing anything as yet. But he has recognised what's going on here, and he is now actually capturing, rather than building, on the South Island. Ecos are still pretty balanced, surprisingly. Oh, I say that, not surprisingly. At the moment, Legend has most of the islands, but Young has more tech here, and Young also has these central underwater mexes. Has Legend actually... Oh, okay, Legend's got a T2 mex compared to 4 from Young. And the navies are massing. Well, we have a construction, but it's a point defense for Young, which shoots up this mex. I want to see factories on these islands, and it is beyond me why they're not doing it. We also have a raid to try and take out the Nothers, but look how many Nothers we now have from Young. That would be enough almost for a comm snipe if it weren't for the fact that Legend's comm is under the water, and if he wants to go for a comm snipe, he will need torp bombers, not fighter bombers. Anyway, Legend's Navy is getting quite big, and it might deny these mexes very soon. These sub-hunters can easily kill underwater mexes. Finally, Young starts the T2 naval upgrade. Look how much he's captured on the South Island, though, although this NG, if Legend notices, might do the job. This is one that Young actually built up and captured. You can see it's a Seraphim mex. Meanwhile, though, there's the drop that we saw coming in from Legend. It has been made, and it's building factories. But it's not building factories on a contested island. Oh no, it's going straight for the main island of Young. This could be a mistake, though, unless he can get out anti-air really fast, because this crowd of Nothers could easily smash this, and Young can see it on the radar. Meanwhile, though, the navies are going to engage. A horde of T1 with a lot of subs versus a couple of sub-killers and a couple of cruisers. There is a destroyer in the back, but I think it's too far away to make a difference to this fight. I hate this, though. They're turning and fleeing, and that means the subs are getting some free damage. The Destro moves in. The cruisers fly away from the subs. Fly, swim, float, sail. That's the word. They sail away from the subs, which is good. And the cruisers are able to fire at range on the frigates, at least. But the subs are still enough to outnumber the destroyer, and in come the Nothers. But the Nothers are going straight for the cruisers. If these were torp bombers, I'd give them more of a shot. But they're not, they're Nothers, and this could be a horrific waste of a lot of T2 air. Look at that, they are just being carved apart by the cruisers. Sure, they did some damage to the cruisers, but I think that was a waste. I do not think those Nothers paid for themselves, not by a long shot. The subs are following the cruisers in, though. Both cruisers into the red. They're shooting what they can, which is the frigate. One cruiser goes down, but Young has only given the order to move to here. He hasn't got his eye on it, and this frigate actually escapes. Wired. Another lone Destro comes in from Legend, thinking that he's won the naval engagement, or at least that the navies are otherwise occupied. Will he be able to get it in there before this Destro comes out from... Oh, well, Young's already got a Destro, so a Destro and a frigate versus a Destro, another Destro about to come out. This feels like another... Oh, it's a cruiser, not a Destro, but either way, that Destro is gonna die. submarine swarm back. That's just another mass gift from Legend. I hate it. But I don't hate this. In come these Medusa. He's forced a T2PD in the base, and this cruiser has also picked up a few air killers. Please tell me you're going to kill that. He does. And it's coming around the back where Young doesn't have a navy. It's a Cyberman cruiser, so it doesn't have tactical missiles, but it could still range a couple of these mexes. That could die to this cruiser. And T1 bombers can be countered by T1 anti-air, which Legend has produced some. This is quite fun, going around the back, because if he went around the front, then these Destros could just, and these cruisers could just shoot it. But going around the back, he can get into the undefended rear and kill these mexes without Young having a counter in position. And this turret will have difficulty seeing artillery parked here. And also, rather than fight the Navy, Legend is sending this Destro around the back. So, a few seconds ago, sure, I was castigating Legend for mass gifts, which Young hasn't yet eaten. He really needs to get on that, if you ask me. He's not overflowing mass. He could do with it. He could do with it and maybe cap these mexes. Although maybe obviously wait till they're dead. And he is going to lose a T2 mex to this, so eating those wrecks would not be a mistake. And he's tried to put a T2 point defense here to defend, but look at that. The arty can fire over that little hill, and the point defense cannot. So I think Young is going to lose a second T2 mex here. And he does. Meanwhile, this Destro has gone some naughty, walkie. We love to see it. And because of the arc of its fire, it's able to fire up over here. This turret can't fire back, and it's going to be able to do some damage. It might even be able to stand here and shoot this turret, which it outranges. And that's now 3 T2 turrets down for Young. Legend is now 10 mass per tick ahead. However, an Ilshi has come out because we now have T2 land production from Young, and that Ilshi will be able to stop anti-air and Medusa without a problem by just walking around. More trickling navy is seen off, and Young's navy is building up. He's now got 3 Destros right here, and that could be pretty good. That could be good. However, how's that Salem doing? This is good positioning because it's doing exactly what I said. It's standing here where that turret can't shoot it, but it can shoot right back. And it is trying to take out quick rebuilds there of T1 mexes, but they're just going down again. And it is doing exactly what I said and shooting this point defense, but it doesn't have a defense against this Nother, apart from this cruiser, which is going to take out the Nother before the Nother can kill the Salem. That's great. This is very good from Legend. I love it. The Ilshis might be able to get in and swarm the Salem, but that's a 4th mex, 4th T2 mex more to the point, that the Salem's been able to take out, and down goes that Ilshi to Salem and cruiser fire. Young is bringing his navy round, and he's brought this Ilshi in. And the Salem has to turn to shoot the Ilshi, which it does. Another Nother comes in. It's going to die to the cruiser, though. This cruiser has, look at that, nearly 4,000 mass killed from this cruiser. That has done sterling work, and 3,600 mass killed by this Destro. So these guys at least have done good work. However, this navy is going to do damage. It's going to kill the cruiser. It's going to kill the Destro, probably. Actually, I say that, but tactical missiles from the Serra cruisers, they'll be able to take out the Destro, and they do. They kill the cruiser. This is quite a large massive arty, and it might be able to swarm the Ilshi, but it's going to have to go in instantly if it wants to do that. Quick zoom out. How have the side islands been changing hands? Finally, we have production on a side island. Is it producing anything? Yes, it is. It's producing Medusa, of course. What else? But what little mexes are left on this island almost all belong to Young. Over here, we've also got production, though it could be captured here. And we've got, this is nice, sneaky naval production on the side, producing these subs, and around a half and half split of the mexes. Are we actually getting any action from these Medusa, though? No, we're not. They're just walking in and being eaten by the Ilshis, and the Navy is coming back round the front. Legend has learnt his lesson, and he has now massed 4 Destros and 2 Sub-Hunters. I see Young came onto land here in order to quickly throw up another T2PD, and now he's going back to assist the T2 Naval Yard again, and that is a lot of assistance. But I do like this extra naval production. He's capturing the underwater mexes. He's sending subs to take out some others. Sneaky capture here from Young. I love how these side islands are changing hands all at the time. And how are the ecos? Well, Young is ahead on total mass, and at the moment on mass produced. But how long is that going to last while these Medusa come swarming across this island, and Young has nothing here to defend? The fleets are massing up in the middle. Quite a big fleet, though. I would love to see at least a cruiser in here, because we do know that there are nothers out here from Young, and we still only have T1 Air from Legend. Speaking of the nothers, I do see a bit of movement there. Where are they heading out to this island? Are they trying to take out these? Okay, I see 2 groups of nothers. That's quite interesting. But I also see a naval engagement massing in the middle. So let's take a look at their 2 attacks. Is he going? I think he's going straight for the production here and here. This is good. I like it. He is going for the production on the contested islands, and Legend has nothing to stop it. Does Young know about the? But he doesn't know about those naval yards, so he's not going to take them out. And these guys now are just going for mexes. However, this is going to put a stop to any production Legend has on these islands. He's got a couple of NGs left. And finally, we are getting some production on the side islands from Young himself. This could be a big swing if he can then follow it up. And now he knows about the naval yards. He's flown over them. Is he going to be able to take them out? Well, we're going to have to check back on that later, though, because I hear the sounds of a naval fight. The navies are engaging, and this is beautiful. Wow, I still got that up there. This is beautiful play from Young. He has submerged his destroyers, and that means that these destroyers have not so much to shoot at, while these destroyers, which are essentially also sub-hunters, are able to open fire, and then he just pops them up, and they are able to shoot this retreating destroyer in the back and clear up these NGs. I love that. That is good. That is good. And Legend just has to fall back a bit. He does still have a decent number of destroyers and mechs, and look, they're back under the water again. Did I just say destroyers and mexes when I meant destroyers and subs? Wow, I am tongue-tied today. Over here, we promised we'd have a check on what was going on. The Northers actually only took out 1 of these. Make that 2. Okay, well, this production is going to be shot down by Northers while Young gets his own production up on the island. This island feels like it's going to end up being entirely Young's. And over here, Young also has this island without any NGs left for Legend. The Northers are still around. These Medusa will stop some of Young's mexes, but there's no production left for Legend to rebuild here. And Young is pushing in. Legend sends out his swarm of fighters. He's going to try and take out these Nothers with it. But it looks like we've got a second naval engagement here. And again, the Destros are underwater. Remember, for my newer viewers, Seraphim Destros are the only Destros that can submerge, and as such, they fill the role of both Sub-Hunter and Destro for the Seraphim. However, there's a lot of subs in here, as well as destroyers for Legend. He's got a Sub-Hunter of his own. And Young is pushing in. A line of T1 torpedo defense going up for Legend. Will it be enough? Down go these Destros, and I think that Legend has enough to survive, and now it is Young who is dropping heaps and heaps of mass. Look at this. On to the base of Legend. Is Young power stored? He isn't, so Legend has actually overtaken Young in mass production. And this one Destro is too little too late. Yeah, look at that. We have Tech 2 mexes up and about for Legend, and there are more of them. And this is now a lot of mass here. That's like 5,000-6,000 mass that Young has just dumped on Legend's doorstep. And meanwhile, Legend's Medusa have cleared up all the mexes for Young on the southern island, so that is now all scorched earth. However, during that time, these have come the long so hard way across the pond, 3 hover tanks, the Ensign hover tanks, and an anti-air, and they've taken out one of Legend's P-Gens. And it is enough to cause a little bit of power trouble for him unless he can do something about it soon. And in they come. Are they gonna, along with another Nother, what can they kill? These flak turrets are probably enough to stop the Nother, but to stop the actual tanks, what has Legend got? He has got nothing. He does have T2 air, and he's trying to produce a fighter bomber of his own. But it's going to take a while. A single Medusa pops out, but that's going to be easy prey for this Ensign hover tank. And we can see more coming in across the minimap. However, Legend's Com, it is naked, but against 4 hover tanks, it should be able to do the deed. And, oh, sorry, gunship, not of course, there comes out. And between these 2 units, I think... Oh yeah, there was a flak in here. Well, guess Legend's got to try something else, and if all else fails, what better than naughty, walkie-walkie? He brings in a Salem destroyer to defend his base against these hover tanks. And he hasn't actually lost much here. He's still got all his T2 mexes. That P-Gen was quite a problem. Oh, yeah, that P-Gen was a lot of a problem, though. He really needs some more power. Over here, Young has this island, but there are these more spam of Medusa coming out, and this is no longer producing. Young doesn't know he needs to build stuff to stop this. Is Legend actually... Yeah, Legend was still power stored, and he was still ahead on Eco, now even a bit more so. However, Young is teching up. Remember, he's still got to re-tech up these mexes that were lost in that earlier raid. But he is doubling down on the air with the second Tech 2 air factory coming up. Whereas Legend is doubling down on the Navy with the second Tech 2 naval factory coming up. So, you know what I think Legend's problem is going to be? The answer is not enough cruisers, because sure, he won the naval engagement, but there is not a single piece of anti-air in here, and there are torpedo bombers on the field. Meanwhile, there are definitely cruisers out for Legend, and he's using a tactical missile launcher on the cruiser to take out these mexes, and without actually being able to get T2 engineers up here in tactical missile defense, that could be a problem. And look at this. The Destrals and torpedo bombers between them have shredded that navy from Legend. And this is going to be a problem. Where is the tactical missile defense? Legend is losing his T2 mexes completely uncontested to one cruiser. And that, I think, might be the turning point. Legend Eco is suddenly being shredded, and if any one of the three fields of war is expensive in mass, it's Navy. Air is the cheapest in mass but most expensive in power, but Legend needs that mass, and he has lost a mex up here and 3 T2 mexes down here to one cruiser. And he is slowly walking this one Salem to try and counter it. In comes a Northern, and there is, to be fair, some flak here. But another mex goes down. Yeah, that was another T2 mex. And look at the ecos now. Young is 50% ahead, 60 to 40. And Legend is trying to mass Navy, and he's got a couple of Destros out, but he must be mass stored. Okay, I tell a lie. He is not mass stored. Is he still working through the reclaim? Yes, he is. And he's got a lot in storage. He's got 8,000 in storage. He could build a couple of Destros on that, but will it be too little too late? And he will need to rebuild his eco in due time. However, this naval engagement feels like a lost cause. There are more Destros here as well as other stuff. Young saying, I put my Destros underwater. Yeah, but I had sub-killers. But you also didn't have enough sub-killers. Had he gone all sub-killer, it might, and like a couple of cruisers at the back to protect against torp bombers, it might have worked, but he didn't. Young's composition, plus his Destros submerging at the right time, was super good. This Salem has finally made it to the water, but for what purpose? It's just going to die to this vast horde of Destros that Young now hasn't. I see a Norther snipe coming in, and you know how I was saying earlier that a Norther snipe wouldn't work because Legend was underwater? Well, he came out. He came out in order to take out those hover tanks, and I think that's enough Northers just to get the snipe. He pulls back a little bit though. He's not going for it just yet. He sends in a scout. He wants to be sure. What does he know? He doesn't know where Legend's comm is. That's it. Oh, I see. He knows that Legend's comm is on the land because he had those tanks there earlier, and he just wants to get a fix on it and target the Northers in. And he has done exactly that. Is this going to be the killing blow? Is Legend going to go down? He's trying to rebuild mexes, but the Northers get their bombs off. Sure, they're going to die to the flak, but he doesn't. And the Northers are dead. Oh, and there's 3 more. Okay, that's going to be enough. Boom! Legend of the Stars goes down, and YungDookie wins the game. What a game. I loved the submerged Destro play from Young. But do you think Legend could have won if he hadn't trickled in his navy on a couple of occasions? If he got to T2 and just massed all those destroyers and sent them in at once, could he have done it? Tell me what you think in the comments below. While you're down there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and obey. I'm the Commissar. I will see you next time.